Honorable Men Discord. Let's talk keeping up with the Joneses. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend and tell a friend. I drop daily episodes at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get straight into it. While I was looking for topics to talk about, I came across this gentleman, and shout out to him, Dre Psalms, if I said it correctly. Dre Psalms. Don't know the brother, but his message was spot on. All right. This was an honorable message. So I'm going to let him give this message, and then we're going to talk about it further. So let's get straight to it.
But I know somebody does. It does not matter how much money you spend on a fragrance. It does not matter. It does not matter if you spend $1,200. It doesn't matter if you spend $15. It does not matter. And I think some of us have lost perspective on what really matters in life. I think some people have truly lost the plot on what matters in life. And I saw a video earlier today, and this is really what's motivating this message right here is I saw a video earlier today of this. It was a creator, and I'm not going to mention the person's name. It's just going to breed contention, and I don't want that kind of messaging. That's not the messaging I'm going for. But this creator was pretty much trying to flex his collection as if he was better than thou kind of thing, right? As he trying to come off more prestigious, trying to come off like his stuff don't stink kind of thing, right? And I said, man, it's truly sad. It's sad how much ego and pride exist in some of us in this community. Like, so much pride. So proud, so arrogant that you think because you spent $700 on a fragrance that you somebody, you're nothing. I hate to tell you, but you're nothing. Because if you die tomorrow, where's that stuff gonna go? Some people truly have to come back to reality to understand what is of importance in life. This fragrance stuff is not of importance. It's a luxury. We are privileged to be able to even indulge. Do we understand what's going on in the world today? Do we understand the different things that are happening around us in the world? And we're allowed and we're able and we have the luxury to talk about fragrances and buy fragrances. And people can't even get clean water these days. But we trying to flex on each other? My bottle is more expensive and man, shut up. There is nothing wrong with staying within your means of what you're capable of doing. And if all you can afford is a $25, $35 fragrance, then do that. And that is okay. Because let me tell you something. There was a point in time I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even spend $35 on a fragrance. So if all you can spend is $35 on a fragrance, do that. If you can spend $500 on a fragrance, then do that too. It's okay. But don't ever let nobody in this space make you feel inferior or like you some cheap dirt because you don't have hundreds and thousands of dollars to spend on a cologne. Because I'm going to be honest, the person that makes somebody feel like that, your soul is cheap. And a matter of fact, the reason why you can do that and talk to people like that is because your soul is sitting on your shelves. I don't know who needs to hear this.
I concur everything that man said. I absolutely agree with everything he said. And here is where I'm going to take this. I'm going to first say I'm guilty of doing these things. And that's with me knowing that it's useless. That's with me knowing that you're never satisfied. It's like guilty purchases. All right. But let me tell my story just to be transparent. So when I grew up, both of my parents worked extremely hard to provide a roof over my head and to provide me with a proper education. With that being said, with them doing so, things like clothes and stuff like that, they didn't pour into that. That's a luxury. And it's still a luxury to this day. even as an adult, with me being able to afford it myself. It's a luxury, all right? Expensive shoes, expensive sneakers, expensive jeans, sweaters, sweatshirts, jackets. It's a luxury, not a necessity. It's a luxury. And I know this as a grown man. But growing up in New York City, at least for me, I'm going to share my experiences. And some of you all that's watching this, you've probably went through these experiences also. If you haven't, then you're an exception to the rule. Just disregard this video. For those of you that have gone through this, understand this. When you're coming up in elementary school, junior high school, there's that pressure to fit in. There's that pressure to be cool. Whatever term you want to use now. All right. I'm an old head, so I'm just going to keep it with cool. All right. There's that pressure. You know, your classmates are wearing a certain thing, and you would hope your parents or parent can buy that thing. But it's a constant cycle of keeping up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with it, because whatever fashion comes out this year is going to be irrelevant the next year. And if it's still relevant, there's a new version of that fashion. The shoes that came out in 2025, no one cares about that in 2026. It's about, oh, look at the new shoe. Where am I going with this? Same thing with the fragrances. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. What really matters with fragrances is the compliment you get from the fragrances, the way the fragrance resonates with you. And I'm not an expert with fragrances, but I'll say this much. The purchases that you make with fragrances, and the reason why I put the fragrance that I put in the thumbnail is because that's a popular scent that I see popping up on TikTok. I've never smelt it myself, but it gets a lot of praise. I looked at the price of it. It runs for just under $500, but obviously when you go to the store and purchase it with the tax, it's going to be over $500. With that being said, purchases like that is not necessary for all the reasons that this gentleman mentioned. It's not a necessity. Now, if you could afford it, by all means, enjoy it. Would I like to smell the scent? I want to smell the scent, and if it's good, I'd like to own it one day, but it's not a priority, so I'm not rushing to get it, right? Those type of purchases, when you can't afford it, are guilty purchases, all right? Purchases that you know you shouldn't be buying because you may not have the money like that to purchase it, and you might be sacrificing a bill to purchase it, but you do it. And I don't know about any of you all watching this, but I found myself plenty of times throughout my lifetime purchasing things that the moment I swipe the card or tap the card now, because no one's swiping, I tap the card, I break out into a cold sweat. Right? I get that warm feeling inside, and it's not a warm feeling of I'm happy that I made the purchase. It's that feeling of, what did I just do? You know damn well you're not supposed to be buying that thing, and you bought it. You know damn well it's going to set you back. You know damn well you're going to be putting in overtime to make it make sense, because you know you shouldn't have purchased something that expensive. And I'm just being honest. I'm here, on this topic, on this channel. It's about honesty. I'm not here to ridicule anyone, although it may appear so on some of the episodes. I'm not. I'm here to be transparent, and I know there's not a lot of people that offer that in this space. A lot of people glamorize purchase after purchase, and they don't speak about the fact that it may not have been a wise purchase. They don't speak on the fact that these purchases never satisfy you. And this goes for male and female alike. All right. A lot of you are promoting brands that don't care about you. A lot of you are promoting things that you know good and right, that the moment you purchase it, you're not satisfied. You're not happy. That expensive outfit, whatever item that you bought, you wear it for a night out. After that night out, you don't have that same feeling the second time you wear it. Some of you are try to keep up with the Joneses so much and try to act so bougie, you don't even wear it a second time because you're like, I did it already. And you're trying to act like you got it like that. Just know that the real wealthy people of this world, they're not wearing any of that. They might have some of it. But when we're talking men, particularly men, the wealthy men could care less about that. They're wearing shoes that are worn out, while we are too busy trying to portray an image like we got it like that. We're wearing shoes that are barely worn out, and then we're like, oh, I'm not going to wear that anymore. I wore that 5 times. 5 times, really? Do yourself a favor and travel and take a look at how the people are living in these other countries. I'm telling you, if you want a humbling experience, travel more and see how some people are living in these places. And you say to yourself, man, I'm disgusting with the way I live my life back in the States. And I will admit, I am disgusted. I am disgusting with some of the purchases that I make. I'm not going to deny it. But a lot of that came from back in adolescence when I was much younger, and the treatment that I was getting for not having the popular sneakers, the popular clothes. I wore knockoffs. Forget about it. I wore knockoff Guess jeans at a point in time when I was coming up was popular. I was wearing the knockoffs. I was wearing the Guess jeans from Canal Street. I was going to Lower Manhattan, jumping on the train, going to Lower Manhattan, and I was buying the knockoffs. If it wasn't down in Canal Street, it was wherever I could find the knockoffs. But I wasn't wearing the real stuff. It wasn't until high school I started wearing real, I want to say, name brand sneakers. I didn't start wearing Nike sneakers until high school, and that's late in high school. All right. Some of you young folks out there, some of you have children, and you're putting your children in all types of designer clothing, and you know damn well you're not supposed to be spending that kind of money on kids in junior high school and things like that. And I know I'm going a little bit off subject from fragrances, but it's the same thing. It's actually a sickness. All right. And if you live in a major city, particularly New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't speak for people that don't live in New York City. If you live in New York City, you know that New York City is all about glitz and glamour, or at least appearing like you got it like that, when you know damn well you don't have it like that. And if you appear that way in the street, you're at the bus stop with the latest sneakers, with the latest jacket, or you go back home to a rat-infested apartment building, a piss-infested apartment building, roaches. This is what we don't talk about, but this is a real subject. Listen, stay within your means. Try your hardest to stay within your means. I know it's harder, it's easier said than done, but try to stay within your means. There's great fragrances out there. I'm gonna promote one, but obviously I'm not associated with this brand. Lattafa is I want to say they're an Arabic company. Lattafa, let me see, luxury of Lattafa perfumes with the let me see what they say about Lattafa. Well, listen, I'm not going to go into Lattafa because I'm not promoted by Lattafa, but Lattafa makes affordable fragrances and they smell amazing. I've received compliments on various Lattafa fragrances that I own. And they're not hundreds of dollars. Some of them are well below $100. And do I feel less than for wearing them? Absolutely not. Because at the very beginning of you purchasing a fragrance is how it smells. I'm going to give you one last story. Many years ago, I used to work in a small luxury hotel. I had many titles. I was the bellman, I was the night auditor, and I was valet. I literally held all the titles that I just mentioned in this small boutique hotel. So on one occasion, a wedding party came in and I was working valet. I took this gentleman's car down into the garage, and the car smelled amazing. Now, let me be more specific. It was a BMW. And the reason why I have to say that is because I'm going to assume that with that type of car and the fragrance that I smelled, it goes hand in hand because he could afford to spend that. It wasn't you just name the vehicle, fill in the blanks. It wasn't a vehicle of someone who's just making it. All right, it was a very nice BMW. I get inside the vehicle, immediately I'm smelling an aroma, and I'm like, wow, this smells amazing. I park his car, and I noticed in the door panel something I noticed a cap, and I pulled it out and I looked at it, and it said Creed. Right? This is many years ago. So this is not recently. It said Creed, and I said, wow. And I put the bottle back down, and I kept a mental note. I said, one day I'm going to purchase that. I said, this smell, I have to have it, right? I looked into it and I saw how expensive it was. And I said, yeah, I can't have it now, but maybe one day I'll have it. I want to say a couple years later. Now, notice I said a couple years later, because I wouldn't have been able to get my hand on that bottle at the time when I was working in the small boutique hotel. But a couple years later, and I mean a couple, well over 5 years later, right, or close to it, when I was working at a different job and I was making a lot more money, I had an opportunity to finally purchase Creed Aventus. Now, I went ahead and I bought it, but I went ahead and made an extremely expensive purchase. I bought the 1,000 milliliter bottle, so you could look into it. I'm not here to act as though like I'm balling because I bought the 1,000 milliliter bottle. I'm actually here to say I shouldn't have bought the 1,000 milliliter bottle. That was me making a vanity purchase. That was me trying to keep up with the Joneses. I could have settled for the smaller bottle, which is expensive in itself, but I bought the 1,000 milliliter bottle. And let me tell you, when I made that purchase, he put it in the bag, and when I tapped the card, I immediately felt nauseous. I was like, what the hell are you doing? In my head, I'm saying, what the hell are you doing? You know you're not supposed to be spending this much money on a fragrance. But for me, I did it because it was something I always wanted, and I knew I was going to make the most of it, which I'm still making the most of it till this day. I made that purchase, I want to say, just after COVID hit. And the bottle's like halfway. The 1,000 milliliter bottle's halfway. I still use it. But I'm just saying that to say this. Even with me making that purchase, I knew I was going above my means by making that purchase. But I didn't make the purchase for the reason of trying to impress others. I made it because it was a scent that I smelled years ago that I always wanted. I didn't make that purchase because a girl said that fragrance smells good, so I went and killed myself to purchase the fragrance. I made it because the smell resonated with me. So that's another thing I want to tell you gentlemen watching this episode. Purchase things that resonates with you, not with what social media is telling you, not with what a girl is telling you, not what the circle that you're trying to be a part of is telling you. Make sure when you're doing stuff, if you're going to sacrifice and make a purchase that you know is above your means, which I don't advise you do so, but if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it because it resonates with you. Always do things because it resonates with you. Don't let society, don't let marketing and advertising dictate how you make a purchase. All right? And I'm going to end with this. Making purchase above your means, in my belief, is a sickness no different. It's a sickness and addiction no different than alcoholism or drug addiction. And you might say, how so? Because again, many of us that know it's wrong continue to make purchases that we don't need. I have a closet filled with sneakers to the point where there's some sneakers I forget I have in the closet. I would have to literally go in the closet, pull out the garbage bags, and see what sneakers I have. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I had that shoe. That's disgusting, folks. It's disgusting. I'm not proud of it, and I'm not saying it to flex, because what flex is that? Who cares about sneakers in the grand scheme of things? Like he said, what are we doing with all these things? 1 foot at a time, 1 day at a time, you could put these things on. You can't put all the sneakers on at the same time. You can't put all the shoes on at the same time. You can't put all the jackets on at the same time. So what exactly are we doing? And then when it's all said and done, if our family chooses to put us in a casket, you can only wear one outfit, one pair of shoes. They don't even put a jacket on. So you can forget the closet filled with Pele, Moose Knuckle. I think that name is called. It's called Moose Knuckle. Canada Goose. What's the other one? I'm out of the loop with fashion. But you get where I'm going. You can't even put that on in your casket. So what exactly are we doing? Just stay within your means, fellas. Do the best you can to stay within the means of your finances. All right. But if you do want to treat yourself once in a while, but don't overdo it to the point where you're setting yourself back. That's the best advice I can give you. And again, I'm not judging you. I'm just encouraging you, as I would hope you would encourage me to do the same, because I make the same foolish mistakes from time in and time out. with buying things that I know doesn't even matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. Who cares? If you're buying it for you, fine. But if you're buying it for others, don't do it. But that's my thoughts on this subject. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, stay honorable.